an AI company building a Sovereign SRE agent for enterprise IT operations. If you don't know what that is, we'll get into it in just a second. He has just raised 3 million euros from Partech and others like Adesso Ventures, Angel Invest, and Plug and Play. And Hyground are doing that to rethink how software systems are operated, how they shall move from reactive to manual incident handling to automated intelligent operations. Hyground, they're already in production with enterprise customers like Deutsche Bahn and IFM. IFM is a little known company, but they're one of Germany's real hidden champions with multi-billion euro revenue, yet no one knows about them. Welcome to the podcast, Dominik.
Hi, thanks for having me, Andreas.
Did I get all of this somewhat correct?
Yeah, you did. That was very on point. Maybe just to make this somewhat tangible, IT operations can be fairly abstract. Everybody talks about software development. AI is big in software development. Now there is software operations or IT operations. That's what we are doing. So once something is developed, it needs to be maintained and running, that your website is live, that your production system is live. That's what we are doing.
Before we started, I said to you, my friend, tell me Sovereign SRE Agent. What does SRE mean? And you gave me the explanation, and now I'm going to repeat it here, which is basically it is the software that makes sure that the systems stay up and running.
That's correct. So actually it comes from Google, Site Reliability Engineering. It's a job description. It's also a way of working to have reliability and availability. And now we are taking this from manual work to be a software to support the SRE people to have uptime and no IT incidents.
Yeah. And then tell me, what's broken today? Why do we need a software system, an agent like what you're building?
Yeah. Let's take a very simple example. You are on an e-commerce shop and you cannot shop. Something is broken. You cannot add something to the cart. So what happens? There's an alarm, and the backend IT staff is being pinged. They're on call, being like, "Hey, fix this." And now what happens? This is 24/7, kind of the emergency doctors of the IT. They're flying blind, right? Can happen every time of the day. Let's say it's 2 a.m. Then they have 10 dashboards, gigabytes of logs and metrics, and they have to go through manually all these pieces, correlated, and find an answer. And IT outsized human scale operability. It's just becoming very difficult, and there the real problem starts coming in, which is IT downtime, which Cisco said this is $400 billion every year of the global enterprises.
Yeah. Why can't you solve it just with better observability tools so you know what's going on and you can then plug in and fix it?
Yeah. So observability is great. It tells you what's broken, but it doesn't fix it. It also doesn't tell you where the root cause of the problem is. And it also doesn't tell you, hey, maybe there's a problem in the config. So it gives you a very cool dashboard, but not the resolution. And with us, you go away from monitoring to acting. Observability, monitoring, we are acting. That's the gap which we are closing.
And then let me ask you about the sovereign part, because I asked you this just before we went live, and I said, like, is it just people posturing and talking when we're talking about the importance of the sovereign stack? Why aren't we just on the US stack as we've always been? Kind of tell me about how your customers are reacting to the fact that you are European sovereign.
Yeah, so I think being sovereign is the key why we are in business, because it's certainly a must-have for industries like banking, insurance, government, defense, right? It's kind of like if you're not sovereign, it's like you're handling your credit card and your PIN code to an LLM. You wouldn't want this. So, right, there needs to be some form of compliance and also trust. And the great part about our solution is that it's connected to all the IT. So it's kind of like building an intelligence layer of the IT. The more connections you have to all the tools, the more powerful Hyground gets. But all these connections is a little bit piece of trust. And trust is the key part. And if you're sovereign, you're in control. So this means trust. And this means trust, for example, for a Deutsche Bahn, an IFM, but pretty much all the companies we're currently talking to. And I think that's a big part why we are in business.
Tell me, is it unfathomable that this will be run by American companies going forward? Do you think so? Like, if you were to lean into that conversation, I don't know if you dare, do you think that it has to be in the future always European?
I don't think so. I think it will converge in a long time. If we look at the market, that every SaaS company will also provide a self-hosted solution. I think this is the natural way, as there is, at least in some specific areas, being a geographic or industries, a very high degree of trust which is necessary, and thus a SaaS cannot compete.
Yeah.
And that can be then also the US SaaS vendors. They don't have it yet, huh?
Yeah. Can I ask you, does this all run typically on site? It runs without being connected to anything in the cloud because you can't rely on the cloud for this? How does that work?
Actually, it depends what our customers do. So each customer has their trusted zone where they feel confident in terms where their data goes. If they are confident to go on AWS or Azure, then we are happy to go there. We pretty much provide a tooling to the company, and it's installed in their premises. Most of the time, actually, it's in their cloud. So it is in the Google clouds. But it can be also like on the European clouds, like Stackit, Scaleway, and the likes. But now, actually, the first people come up and want to have it on bare metal, kind of like defense companies. They have GPUs in their basement and want to run it there.
Yeah, I imagine. Let me ask you, because one thing you kept mentioning when we spoke before was the fact that with your solution, you're going beyond just on-call incident resolution. Can you tell me what that means for the customer?
Yeah. So if we look again at an SRE, like it's a person, 30% of the time they spend on fixing IT incidents, meaning, okay, our system is broken, customers cannot buy something, or our production line is stopped. 70% of the time they're doing other stuff. And this is partially very repetitive tasks, which are pretty much toil, it's grunt work. And that's the part what we are doing. And it being like, okay, let's have a look if there is any security issues. I have to do this on a repetitive basis. So now with Hyground, you can pretty much teach Hyground a skill being like, hey, please do the security assessment and please do this every week. And then Hyground just pushes it automatically to you that you don't have to do this work. And it can be security, it can be cost optimization, it can be cost reporting to your manager and the likes.
Yeah. I gotta ask you, you being a founder, I am a founder myself. I'm sitting here building my own agents, trying to make everything as smart as it can be, but I am personally nowhere as smart as you, especially when it comes to building out agents. I'd love to ask you, what are you doing yourself to enable yourself as an AI founder?
Yeah, so pretty much we are AI native, meaning every tool which is out on the market, we have tried it, we use it, and we assess it. Because I think in today's world, it's great to build, it's super exciting, and all these tools out there, like we are very valuable for people, and speed is super key at the moment. So try every tool, use it as fast as possible. So like I don't type emails anymore, this is all Whisper. Actually, our developers don't write code. They write Whisper into Claude code, creating a pull request, which they then review. And I think this is ultimately key. Be very open-minded and use it, because behind most companies which have VC funding, there is an idea, a problem, and a good solution.
I'm building an AI chief of staff myself these days. I've gotten to the point where it handles all my emails, kind of as you say. I use Whisper as well to engage, to talk to Claude Cowork, but then I have it write all the drafts in the morning, so I just hit send on all the different things. Do you run anything like that for yourself personally?
Yeah, certainly. Also like a big Claude fan. So using all the now tasks with scheduling, which is very powerful, pretty much right. I also have repetitive tasks. All these parts are then in Claude. Still have an old GPT subscription that is partially powerful as well. And I think it will be a back and forth. So who's releasing the next big foundation model, it will be better. So definitely Claude. I actually started having everything in GitHub because there's a very good integration of Claude to GitHub. So actually our knowledge management in the company is directly in GitHub, accessible via the web. You can pretty much, like one example, we came back from KubeCon Amsterdam, have 200 leads. We received a file from KubeCon, put this into Claude Code, created a whole website, click through all leads, geographies, company sizes, and the likes, and it's like ready in 5 minutes. So that's the parts which I use myself.
It's absolutely incredible. Okay, tell me, where does the future of software operations go to if your vision plays out?
Yeah, so I think it goes to autonomous reliability. So meaning every company or most companies will have an AI ops layer on their IT, which is very proactive, partially self-healing, where also it fixes itself, that you don't have the problems, and only very high value problems or difficult problems are being handed to the people. And that also implies then for the people operating software today, they do large of the engineering operations themselves. They will be more architects and orchestrators. So actually it's also a very cool part on where this is going to be developing.
Yeah, it's incredible. All right, let me close with a call to action to everyone. If you're dealing with complex systems and are thinking about the future of software operations, especially where data sovereignty matters, I want you to check out Hyground. I think they might just be building on what you need. Dominik, can I ask you, are you also hiring? You're in Hamburg right now.
We are very selectively hiring. Our team is almost set, but we still have open applications on like spontaneous applications. So feel free to reach out to me. There will be always a reply from us.
And this is the answer of the new AI founder. We are almost no people. We almost need no people. But if you happen to be really smart, then do please come join us. Dominik, thank you so much for joining me today and congratulations on everything.